Hello, everyone. Happy Father's Day to those out there that are watching now or watching later. For those that are fathers in loads of different ways, maybe adopted or fostering, or however that might look to you, or godfathers, or taking on other children, or your own. Happy Father's Day to you. Obviously, I'm a dad. I've got two boys, and it's one of the biggest privileges ever to be dad. It has very challenging at times, but incredibly rewarding. I love my boys. So we are going out later. We are going out to the Hungry Horse. Very nice. Like that a lot, especially the big plate specials. I'm just going to move my camera a little bit. So I hope you're all okay today on this day. The weather here is absolutely awful. Tipping it down with rain. Did want to go out on a walk. We like to go, if you're local, Crooks Peak. It's a good old walk. If you're not local, then look that up. Today I want to talk about something that I've been thinking about for a fair bit, to be honest with you. And also there's a song, which I'll talk about a little bit later on, that has really spoken to myself and Michelle and our boys, actually, I guess, as a family, and is the subject on waiting on God. I mean, who likes to wait? To be honest with you, I'm probably fairly impatient at times. I don't particularly like to wait for things. Waiting around, waiting in the doctor's waiting room, or waiting for the dentist, or waiting for people to get ready so we've got to go somewhere. There's always a process of waiting. So I don't know anybody that really likes to have to wait around all the time. I can always tell when my oldest, especially my oldest lad, I guess even my youngest, is kind of wanting something, because normally when we go to a shopping centre, he's an avid reader, okay, loves books, especially into, manga now, and when we go to the shopping centre, I kind of know, because it's always, can we go to Waterstones? That's one of his favourite shops. So we'll go there, and of course we'll go to the section, graphic novels, and he'll pick out books, and he go, oh, I really want that book. It's a really good book. And I'm like, well, you got to kind of wait, either for your birthday or for pocket money or that type of thing. Just explaining to him the whole process of sometimes you just got to wait. And I said to him the other day, do you know, those who wait, good things come to those who wait. So I said that to him the other day, and that really made me think about the whole process of waiting, and good things will come for those who wait. Recently, over a period of time in our household, in the Logan household, there has been much anxiety over the prospects of what's next, waiting for the next bit. I mean, our oldest son now he's been in year 11, so he's done his GCSEs, so he's waiting, what's next? Is it going to be A-levels? Is it going to be college? It's the prospects of what is coming up. And as a family, we have been waiting around for a fair bit on what's next, and what we feel God has for us next. And that can bring a certain anxiety. I don't know if you're in that position. Maybe you're waiting for the answer to a phone call about a new job, or you are waiting, I don't know, for a parcel to come, or whatever that process of waiting. Sometimes it can build a whole lot of anxiety, waiting to see if you've passed your exams, waiting to find out if you're pregnant. Anything like that brings anxiety and stress in that process. And that's something that we've been really thinking about. In our house, I don't know, we've shared this before, our story of infertility. And it's always that hope and that waiting for a baby. to come. I mean, obviously, like I said, we've got 2 boys, but we would really like a baby girl. That's what we feel that God has promised us. So it's that waiting around. And you know what? It can be really frustrating. You know, in the Bible, what I've noticed is there's a lot of stories about the process of waiting. And there's a lot in there that you can read. I don't know whether you read your Bible or you're into Bible stories, or when you were a kid you went to Sunday school, or you've been to church, or any of those things. Some of these are quite famous stories. You know, there's David, who was promised to be king at such a young age. He was just a kid, a shepherd boy up on the mountainside, and he was promised and anointed to be king. Well, that was years later in the whole process. You know, Joseph with the coat, you know, he had dreams of being someone important, being this amazing person, and yet he had to wait years and years and years. You know, he was thrown in prison, you know, put into slavery before he actually got to the point in Egypt of being, you know, ruler over everything, you know, under Pharaoh. You know, the whole process of waiting. The Israelites had to wait 40 years of waiting and walking around for the promised land. Some of that was kind of their process of working it out, but they had to wait. Jesus himself, he had to wait. You know, it amazes me, 30 years until he went into his ministry, and that was only for 3 years. So he had to wait, he had to go through a process. So, you know, I like to look at the Bible, and I like to be encouraged by reading stories of these type of stories that have examples to us of a process that other people have gone through, and how God has worked through the process of waiting around. And it's interesting because you can pull out common themes from these stories and apply them to your life. And, you know, it's quite satisfying to see that is there, because you can pull parallel stories and go, yeah, I'm really feeling like that too. I'm really at that point. You know, there's an interesting story in John 11. I don't know if you've got a Bible or not. Do you know what? Even if you don't have a Bible, you can go on Bible Gateway or anything like that on your apps. I know I've talked about that before. In John 11, there's this amazing story about Lazarus. Lazarus, who had died, and basically they sent for Jesus to come along and pray for him, because they knew that he would be able to either raise him from the dead or even pray for him to stop him from dying. So they sent a message to Jesus and said, Jesus, you know, please come and do this. And the interesting thing is in the story is Jesus waited. It says, I'm just going to read the bit out if I can find it. It says he was upset when he heard that Lazarus was sick. So he was sick at this point. And Jesus said, this sickness will not end in death. No, it's for God's glory, so that God's Son may be glorified through it. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that Lazarus was sick, this is the amazing bit, he heard that he was sick and he was upset about it. He stayed where he was 2 more days. And then he said to his disciples, let's go back to Judea. So he waited. He knew he was sick, but he waited. And by the time that he got to Judea, Lazarus was dead. And they met him out on the city limits, and they were crying before him and were like, why did you not come sooner? You know, and Jesus is like, well, you know, take me to the tomb where he's at. And of course, everybody's like, well, it's impossible because now he's dead. It says in the story, in the Bible story, that, you know, you can imagine the heat and everything, that his body started to decompose. He had rotted. So this miracle that Jesus was about to perform by bringing him out of the grave and bringing him back to death, you know, bringing him back to life. Obviously, these people had already seen Jesus do this stuff. They'd already heard him do, these amazing things. But normally it was just, this guy died and then brought him back. Now, his body was almost decomposing. So when Jesus brought him back to life, it was something that was almost impossible to happen. But yet Jesus waited. Why did Jesus wait for that to happen? Now, there's a bit of a background story to this whole thing. I don't know whether you know. There's another account about it in one of the other Gospels. And it says that Jesus had visited that area, that town, a while ago, and it's where his homeland is. So he tried to perform miracles. But what happened was, in that area, they started to doubt. People doubted about Jesus because, this is the guy that we knew that was little. This is the guy that was the carpenter. This is the guy that, I remember as a little boy running around. How can he preach like this? How can he do these miracles? How can he say that he's this person when we know all about him? And that's impossible. So Jesus actually left at the point of not being able to do much because of everybody's doubt. So the reason why he waited in this moment with Lazarus, with this impossible task, this impossible miracle, was the very fact of he wanted to prove who he was. He wanted to show people that, I'm special. And he wanted for the ultimate miracle to happen, for God to get the glory, to blow their brain boxes and to blow that doubt, and to build that faith within that town, for God to really do something. He wanted to blow the lid open. He just didn't want to just perform a miracle, but he wanted to smash their doubt, and bring a real blessing into their lives. The process of waiting is really, really difficult at times. But you know what? In this process where we've kind of thought about our future and where we should be and what we should do, and things sometimes have proved difficult, I remember a story that really kind of proved to me that I know that if you wait on God, He's going to look after you. When I first moved to Leigh-on-Sea, when I moved with, it was just me and Caleb at that point before, I met Michelle. Who I already knew beforehand. Some of you know this story already. And I remember moving to Leigh, and I was working for a Methodist church at this point, which is, let's be honest, was just full of old people. And I remember coming down and by myself, and I remember at the point of really kind of wanting somebody in my life, because things had been a little bit messy in relationships in the past. And I remember kind of looking around in this church and thinking, what on earth am I doing here? There's nobody here for me. And I remember getting to the point of, well, God, you know what? You're going to have to really work a miracle, and maybe I'm just going to be by myself. I remember Caleb coming into the room once and saying, Dad, you seem really, really down. You seem really lonely. You need someone in your life type of thing. And I remember saying to him, Caleb, I don't know, I'm just going to have to wait on God, and trust God in this. Because at the moment, when I look out, the natural is just not going to happen. Well, obviously you know the story, because I've ended up getting married with Michelle, who's my best friend. We've been married for some time now. And amazing things have happened out of that relationship, and a real blessing. And if I hadn't have waited around, and if I hadn't been obedient at that time with just trusting God, and just waiting on Him, then I could have missed out, or I could have stepped into a wrong relationship, or I could have done something that had blown what God had really wanted for me. In that moment of waiting, we get impatient. And it's in that moment that I've learned that the greatest mistakes can sometimes happen. We try and force the situation. We try and make things happen. That's where bad relationships happen, because we become so desperate that we don't wait, we don't trust in God, and that we push a situation and we end up, I don't know, in a bad relationship, or we end up in a job that we really don't like. Because, the thing is about God, he wants the best for us. He wants the best relationship. He wants you to have the best job. He wants you to have the best life. And sometimes we've got to wait out for those things. Trust in God, waiting for him. So, over this period, like I said, of waiting in our household, waiting for things that we know that God has promised us, waiting for things that we know that God wants to bless us with. We read the Bible stories that I've said, and we've really experienced and learned from those of God's love and waiting for his strength. In that moment of waiting, he gives you strength. I just want to read this Bible passage, if I can find it. It's in Isaiah 40:31. Probably a lot of you may know this, some of you won't. And it says in Isaiah 40:31, this is in the Bible, it says, "But they wait upon the Lord, and the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. But when they wait upon the Lord, he shall renew their strength." Yeah, the hardest part of waiting is the process, the impatience, the urge to see something happen. But you know what? Sometimes you've just got to step away. Sometimes you've got to give things up and just say, do you know what? I'm not going to push. I'm not going to try. I know you've got this under control. And I'm going to trust you, God. And when you trust in him and step back away from the situation, that's where strength comes in. Waiting on God brings strength. Waiting on him. In that situation of waiting around and just that impatience, that can drive us to a point, like I said, of kind of forcing situations, but it can kind of push us to a point of complaining and moaning. Oh, but I really want that. Why is it not happening? And we can put all our energy into negativity, and that just brings, more stress. Brings us complacent, can almost bring us bitter, can almost bring in the doubt. Like in that town in Judea where, there were Lazarus. They were so complacent and so bitter and so moaning that and criticizing that they couldn't see what Jesus could do with their lives. It only got to the point of that whole waiting period that God did something amazing that blew the lid off the whole thing. So I guess what I'm trying to say to you is wait on the Lord. He will give you strength. He will give you strength to get through this process of waiting, to get through the process and the agony of working things out. In the process of waiting, there is also bits and pieces that you've got to do. You've got to work on yourself. If that's your mental health, or that's an illness, or it's a job that you want, well, use the time in positive and said, you know what, in this waiting period, I'm going to do things that are good. I'm going to read books that are going to help me. I'm going to go on courses. I'm going to go to the doctors. I'm going to go get some counsel. I'm going to go meet with people. I'm going to go to church. I'm going to read my Bible. I'm going to listen to positive music. I love worship music. I'm going to share about a song in a minute. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing it. I'll share it, and we'll put it onto our Facebook as well, because it's a powerful song. I'm going to be around positive mindset. When we start to have a positive mindset and we start to build that positivity and that happiness, that that oozes out of us, and we start to feel that everything else is a lot easier in life. Why complain in the process when you can praise? Why complain when you can pray to a God that loves you and wants you to be the best and do the best and get you out of that situation that you feel that you're in, getting out of that waiting period? Every story that I've read in that Bible story, that period of waiting, God has always blessed And there's always been lessons that these people have learned. So in this process of hanging around, waiting for your dream husband, dream wife, waiting for children, whatever those things are, waiting for your dream job, whatever that is, in that process, know that God has you in his hands. But you know what? For him to work a miracle and for him to work in your life, you've also got to do stuff for yourself as well. Put things into operation. For God to move, you've got to move as well and be active. And don't expect things just to drop into your lap. Well, for us, it's been quite a strange week, actually, in this whole process of waiting. Because we've been waiting for some time for some answers. I'm not going to go into it too much. I'll probably share that a little bit later on at some point after we've kind of come the other side of this process. It's been a funny old week because this week we've had an abundance of phone calls and emails that have almost given us multiple options and multiple ways and multiple solutions of things that we've been asking and trusting God for. And it's blown me away, to be honest. I've kind of sat back and gone and go, whoa. I'm thankful that I've waited, and I'm thankful that I have been mostly happy within the waiting period. Yes, I have complained every now and again because it's not always easy. But I am grateful to God of that process because I've learned so much more, and now I'm like amazing at the prospects of the promises and the fulfillment of those things that are going to happen in my life. Wait on the Lord, he will give you strength. God is our strength, our shield, and our rock. He is our fortress. We can turn to him in times of need and times of hope. That's because he loves us. He loves you. If you've never given your life over to Jesus and you've never submitted yourself to him, then you can do that. You can do that wherever you are. You don't have to be in a church building. You don't have to be good enough. You don't have to be an academic or any of those things. You don't have to jump for a million hoops. You can just say in your living room, King Jesus, just come into my life. And I'm sorry for all the wrong things that I've done. And I love you. And I thank you for dying on the cross for all the wrong things that I've ever done. And thank you that in the process of waiting, and waiting on you, you will give me strength. Amen. Now, the song that I was talking about is, you can see it, look up on YouTube. Like I said, we're going to put the link up, so don't worry. Okay. An amazing album. It's called Old Church Basement. I tell you, when we listened to it, it just blew us away. And there's a song on there that's talking about waiting on God. Wait on you. And obviously there's a line in there that says about, while you're waiting, why complain? Why moan when you can praise? You need to listen to the song because also it's got the Isaiah scripture that I read in there about, God giving you strength. When you wait, God makes you stronger. Just a little bit stronger. Just a little bit stronger in this situation. Just a little bit stronger to get through where I'm at and what's needed. Apply that to your life. That's what I love about the Bible. There are things in there that you can apply to your life. And if you know me, I will only talk about things and share about things that I have personal experience in, that I am walking myself. There's pointless sharing stuff with you that I don't fully understand. There are things that I'm applying in my life. I am walking this walk just as much as some of you are in the journeying of being patient and waiting and trusting in God. When we trust in God, he will give us strength. Well, have a fantastic day. Whatever you're doing today, like I said, if you are fathers, then enjoy your Father's Day. If you are single mums, then you are playing, some of you, the part of fathers as well. That is a big task. As single parents, be blessed. I hope you are loved today. If there's any way we can help or you need to be in touch with us, then you can contact us through our Facebook page. But have a great day. Trust in God. Trust in him. Wait on him. He will give you strength no matter what you're going through. He loves you. Be blessed today. Have a great day, and we will see you soon.